In this video, we'll see about the environment variables. Now, what exactly environment variables is? The name itself says, with related to your test, I'll give you the details about your environment in the form of variables. Details about the test in sense, your test is working on which operating system version, what is your folder in which your test resides, or which is the folder in which your result resides. So about that test, it will give the entire information. That is what you call environment variables. But there are two types of environment variables. One is built-in environment variables and second is user-defined environment variables. So what are those and how we can use it? Let us see that. I've created a test here that is environment variables and I've written some code. We'll go to that code later on. But before that, let me tell you how we can go for these environment variables. I can go to this file, settings. I'll get this test settings dialog box. In this, if you see, there's an environment button given here, that's a given here, and if you see, there's a variable type which is given as built-in and user-defined. Very first thing is I'll select as built-in variable type, that is the environment built-in variable type, and these are the names given about the variables and the description given. So let us see the simplest one. If I see this OS given, OS is given as operating system, and if I scroll down, it says operating system, and the current value of operating system is Microsoft Windows 8.1. That's the operating system which is working right now. So operating system version is 6.3.9600. I want to see what is my product name which I'm using right now. What is the product name? It is HP Unified Functional Testing. So if I go down, if I want to see where will be my results stored, which directory it will be stored. It will be stored at this value, tutorials.9, documents, UFT and environment variables. In that folder it would be stored. So these are the environment variables which are given. Now, why it is used? At any point of time, if I want to find out which environment my test is working, so I can get the details about it. This is the directory, that's the operating system and that's the version number. So I'll just click on OK. So what I've done is I picked up some few variables from this built-in type. Okay, and I want to display the value with the help of message box. How do I display it? So I've written here as message box, that is environment, and inside I've written the variable name. So environment OS stands for operating system, environment product directory in which my all the data will be stored, environment for result directory where all the result will be stored into that folder, environment which is operating system version. What is the version right now? So if I want to check, I'll just click on this run button. This is the code which I've written here. I'll click on this run button, and if you see, very first thing it says the operating system which you're working right now is Microsoft Windows 8.1. So I'll click on OK. The next one it says which is your product directory where all data will be stored. So it will be stored at this location, program files HP UFT, that's Unified Functional Testing. The result will be stored at this location, result 13, okay, and operating system version is nothing but 6.3.960. Whatever details were written about the environment, same can be displayed at any point of time. I'll just click on OK. Okay, so the test has passed and I've got the result here. So I've shown you the first type of variable, that was environment variable built-in type. But I said there are two types of environment variables. One is built-in, second one is user-defined. So I'll show you the user-defined file, settings, and if you see here in the environment part, and if I click on this drop down, the second one is user defined environment variables. Right now the environment variable for user defined is blank. So what I can do is I can define my own variable. So I'll just click on this plus sign. Here I have to give the name and the value. So let's say I'll give as tutorialspoint.com, that's a website name, that will be the value, and name I can give it anything. So I'll say as URL, and the name value will be www.tutorialspoint.com. Okay, and I'll click on OK. So this way you can keep on defining the variables. These are the inbuilt variables. Okay, but this type is of internal, right? This type will be of internal, and I'll click on apply. Okay, so how do I use that environment variable into my test? So you can observe here, I've written a code here. Yeah, that's a code. I want to start www.tutorialspoint.com website on Chrome browser. So how do I do that? So this is the command systemutil.run. That's the command to open that, to invoke the application. And if you see, that's a path given for chrome.exe executable file. And what do I want there? I want www.tutorialspoint.com. So environment.value, and that is the URL. So I'll get the output of this as tutorialspoint.com. So when I execute, you can observe what will happen. I'll just click on this run button and click on run. You see, first one is working fine. I'll click on OK. Second is working fine. Third one, this is the fourth line which I'm executing. And what is the fifth one? It will open the browser, that is Chrome, and in that Chrome it will open tutorialspoint.com website. I'll click on OK. Yeah, the result has done, but let me check Yeah, if you observe here, that's the website, that's the Chrome, and in that Chrome I have got this tutorialspoint.com website, and you can keep on scrolling if you want to see that. Yeah, so that's the website details which are given here. I'll just close the browser here. So this way you can keep on using the environment variables which a user will define. So this was the internal type of variable which was user defined variable. Now I'll go back to this place, file settings, environment, and I can go to this user defined. So as I said, there are again two types of variable, that is built in and user defined. Inside user defined, again there are two types of variables. One is internal variable and second is external. So right now which I have defined inside UFT, that becomes internal. Okay, if I want to borrow from outside from some XML file, that will become as external file. So for that, which type of file is supported? The file which is supported is XML file. So you need to have some variables and the values into XML file that you can import here, and you can bring it at this place. So how do I bring it? Either you can already have an existing file, XML file, then you can import it. Another method is the shortcut method. If you don't know how to create an XML file, you can just export this variables and the values into XML file, modify, do some changes into that XML file, and you can bring into this place itself. That is one more method. So I'll say as click to export user defined variables to an XML file. So I'll click on export, okay, and I'll paste on the desktop. Yeah, desktop, and I'll give as name as variables. Click on OK. So now if I go to desktop, this is the file which is created, variables. If I double click on this, this is the XML file which is created, that was exported from UFT to this place. Now what I want is, I want to make some changes. This was the name and this was the value, tutorialspoint.com. So instead of this name, I want, let's say I want here as age, okay, and instead of this tutorialspoint.com, what I want is, I'll remove this tutorialspoint.com, and I want as 23. My age is 23. I'll put here as 23. So age is the name which I've given, and the actual number which I've put is in the value part. Now what I'll do is, I'll click on this file, click on this save. Okay, so same file, I'll import it again. I'll just click on this close. So people who are not good into XML, they don't know how to work on it, this is the best method for them. I'll just open my UFT back. Okay, and now I can go to this file, settings, environment. I'll go to this user define, and now what I'll do is, I'll load variables and values from the external file. I'll just click on this checkbox, click on this file, the browse button, and this was the file, that is XML file. I'll click on open. Okay, now if you observe, age 23, and that is external. So inside user defined variables, again there are two types, one is internal, second is external. So external will be mentioned in the blue color, internal will be mentioned in the black font itself. So I'll just click on apply. Okay, right. So now that was the age, that was the variable which was imported. What if I want to use it? I'll use the same method. If you observe here, message box, yeah. So message box environment dot value, in the bracket I've written as age. So if I execute, I should get the age as 23. I'll click on run. First, second, third, fourth. Yeah. So you see, I'm working on this message box environment dot value, which I've imported from the XML file, the age, and the age value is given as 23. It's working fine. And the last line, it will execute, it will open the Chrome in the Tutorials Point website itself. So I hope you're able to understand about the environment variables. There are two types of environment variables, built-in and the user-defined. Inside user-defined, again there are two types, one is internal and external. And how do we import, export and use into our tests? That's all for this video.